When the season started for the Golden State Warriors, I was emphatic. I made it very clear that if the Warriors were going to be relevant this season, if the Warriors were going to be in discussions among the league's best teams for who's going to be around at the end of the year, they were going to have to start these first 7 games at least 5-2. Folks, they're 6-1. So far, so damn good. Yes, some people might say tonight's game was too close for comfort, that maybe they should have blown this Wizards team away. They still won by 13 points. Stephen Curry was on a minute restriction. I hope Brandon Podziemski is okay. He just left the game at the start of the third quarter. We're going to cover hopefully everything tonight on Election Eve. Folks, support our democracy. Get out there and vote. And then come back and enjoy Golden Days. If you've already voted like me, congratulations. In the meantime, though, we're talking Warriors. They beat the Wizards. Let's break it all down next. Welcome to the Golden Days.
They always find something to nitpick, and that's because there's expectations for us to win. It was a pretty crazy night.
Let's go. In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up. Come on and break me off. 'Cause I get what I want and I like what I see. If you got
the Case of the Monday. Welcome to the Golden Days. I am your host for the evening, Cyrus Saatsaz. You can follow me on Threads and Instagram at DogWild, over on Twitter at Surf Journalist. The program is on all social media platforms at Golden Days Pod. Today's episode, like every episode, is brought to you by the official sponsor of Golden Days. And when I say official sponsor, I mean for now. The doors are currently open, and we've thankfully heard from some folks about potential sponsorships, but we only have room for a few. And if you're in the San Francisco Bay Area or wherever you are, it doesn't have to be a location-specific clientele in this instance. If you want to be a partner with this program, is what I'm trying to say. All you got to do is email us right there, warriors24pod@gmail.com. Again, warriors24pod@gmail.com. We'll get back to you with an ad sheet, bunch of good information about why you should partner up with the program, and you could get the same kind of love that I give on a nearly daily basis to Bet Online, the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, Bet Online provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen, with the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, NHL to entertainment. And for one more day, I could say this, political props. Yes, you could still bet on the election. And if you're really confident, side note, about Kamala Harris winning this thing, the odds are so stacked against her on Bet Online that you can make a small fortune. And side note, the odds are not set up that way because of polling. It's set up that way because of who's betting on who. The bookies' goal is to break even because they make that little extra juice called the VIG. Point is, if you feel confident about Kamala, the odds are in your favor to win big. Head to Bet Online today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet Online, the game starts here. And again, the Golden State Warriors, Damian LaRoche bringing up Ross Perot, flashback to 96. Side note, my uncle worked for Ross Perot for a very long time. Ross Perot was, I believe, the CEO of Texas Instruments. My uncle was an engineer for him, but I digress. Great to see you, Damian, who's also writing. You're active in the chat tonight, talking about Jonathan Kaminga and Wiggins. Both, according to you, your preference is they should both start against the Boston Celtics. That game is Wednesday night. Should be that's the first real test for the Golden State Warriors. We'll talk about that in just a moment. And you're absolutely right. Wiggins' shot was completely off this evening. We'll talk about that and so much more. But again, the Warriors win this game tonight by a score of 125-112. The Wizards stuck around. And I'll say this about the Washington Wizards. Are they a bad team? Yes. But is this the best incarnation of the Wizards that we've seen in the last like 15 years? Also, yes. If you're a Wizards fan, what I'm trying to say here is be encouraged. You should feel good about your team. That Sarr kid could be a star, not a Sarr, but a star in the near future. That dude is big. He's long. He's athletic. When I saw Alexander Sarr, the rookie, playing against the Warriors, my immediate thought was, if only the Warriors could have a guy like him. But I digress. My point is, the Wizards are someday potentially going to be a good team. The Wizards did not have that kind of hope and optimism for a long time. I don't know if you could, like when the Warriors traded Jordan Poole to the Wizards 2 years ago, I think a lot of people genuinely felt bad for Jordan Poole because he was going to the laughingstock franchise of the NBA. And what I saw tonight from the Wizards, again, the Warriors won this game by 13 points. But while the Warriors did have their own issues throughout this game, whether it was with three-point shooting, which at the half was abysmal, they did turn that around and make it a little better at the end. I'll explain what I mean in just a minute. And yes, the free throws for a second game in a row were not falling like they should. But a lot of the reason why this game was uncomfortably close throughout, the reason why the Warriors could never truly pull away, is because the Wizards have some talent on that team. I'm sure a lot of Warriors fans were paying particularly close attention to Jonas Valanciunas, a player that has been linked to the Warriors. He will not be available for trade until January. But if that happens, I wouldn't hate it. I think he'd be an awesome addition to this team, although Pinot Reformat in the chat immediately disagreeing with me, saying he's slow and he doesn't fit the team. And you might be right too. I'm not saying the Warriors need to do a damn thing right now. I'm gonna in just a minute talk about one of the reasons why, and that's Trayce Jackson-Davis, who I thought played a fantastic game, and tip of the cap to the coaching staff for bringing him back in the fourth quarter. We have not been seeing that lately. A huge reason why on the Saturday night post-game show following Warriors-Rockets, a huge reason we deduced during the show in terms of why the Rockets pulled back was because of a lack of proper adjustments in the second half by Steve Kerr and company, more specifically with Moses Moody and Trayce Jackson-Davis, who were killing it in the first half, and then we never saw him in the second half, where we barely saw him. In this game, in a pivotal moment in the fourth quarter, with the Wizards still sticking around, you saw Steve Kerr bring Trayce Jackson-Davis back into the game, and the Warriors held on to the lead. Tip of the cap again to the coaching staff for making appropriate adjustments that we have not seen the previous 2 years. And again, this is the influence of Terry Stotts. This is the influence of Jerry Stackhouse to have some extra experienced, intelligent voices in Steve Kerr's ear, reminding him, hey, you've got a deep bench. Wiggins is not hitting his shots tonight. Why are you keeping him in there? I know you love him. I know you have your loyalty to your championship players, but they're not perfect. They make mistakes like everyone, and you have other talent on this bench to pick up the slack. And thankfully, that's what's happening now. We did not see that the last 2 years. That is a huge bonus of high-quality assistance, which, again, this team in a lot of ways was missing the last 2 years. Now, some of you might come back and say, well, Kenny Atkinson was an assistant, and his Cleveland Cavaliers are kicking ass so far. Yeah, it's 7-8 games into the season. That Cleveland team is stacked. Not to disparage Kenny Atkinson, but my point is Terry Stotts and Jerry Stackhouse are clearly having their impact felt on this team, and the results are showing. Jaleel Lindsay saying, what's up? What's up? Right back to you. Great to see you tonight. Treason adding that Wiggins only played 18 minutes. Good on Kerr for not playing favorites. 1,000% agreed. Apologies there. Needed a little hydration before we get going. So who kicked ass in this game? A lot of people. Stephen Curry played his first game after missing the last 3 due to the injured ankle. And he was on a minutes restriction, which resulted in him not even starting the second half because he played, I believe, 18 first half minutes. Let me confirm that because I actually have that information here. Oh, here we go. So Stephen Curry in the first half played, 12 minutes. But again, he was on a minutes restriction. The team did not want him, I'm guessing, to go over 24. He finished the game tonight, 24 minutes, 5 seconds. That was likely what the goal was, to not push 24 minutes. Stephen Curry was reportedly loosening up the ankle at halftime and throughout breaks in this game. So he wasn't 100%. He's still warming his way back into full game conditioning. But as a result of that, you saw a lot of other players stepping up and carry the slack, which is what the depth of this team provides. It's awesome. But I want to start off by giving Trayce Jackson-Davis some love, because again, we saw him play in the fourth quarter. That is something we did not see in the Houston game, and they could have used him in that Houston game. So Trayce Jackson-Davis comes, first of all, his first half stats, because we don't see him a lot in the second half. A lot of his contributions are usually just in the first half. And what he did tonight in the first half was no exception to his exemplary play. He played nearly 12 minutes. He had 10 points. He was 5 of 9 from the field. He was scoring buckets. He was making an impact inside. I absolutely love what I see from Trayce Jackson-Davis so far to the season. The Warriors might not need to make another move. I wouldn't mind another move for depth in the front court when you start playing these elite teams that have a lot of size. And again, we're about to see this huge, massive test for the Golden State Warriors these next 3 road games, where the Warriors are traveling to Boston next to take on the reigning champions, who look damn good in their title defense year. Then they take on the Cleveland Cavaliers, who I mentioned just a moment ago, who are also kicking ass this season. Kenny Atkinson is so far pressing all the right buttons. And then they finish it up, I believe, on Sunday, playing the OKC Thunder. That is quite possibly the most difficult 3-game stretch any team could have on their schedule this season, especially when you consider all 3 games are on the road. That is wild. So, and I'm seeing some slow-mo love in the chat. I'll talk about Kyle Anderson in a second, who I thought was fantastic as well. But Trayce Jackson-Davis, in the fourth quarter, when he was thankfully brought back in, do I have in my notes when he came back in? It was in the middle. It was around the 6-minute mark. So Trayce Jackson-Davis in the fourth quarter, with the game starting to get a little uncomfortable in terms of the margin. Again, Trayce Jackson-Davis is brought back in. He plays the final 6 minutes, 52 seconds of the fourth quarter, and he only scored 2 points. He only made 1 bucket, but he also grabbed 3 pivotal rebounds. He also had 2 pivotal assists. And again, this is where Trayce Jackson-Davis is not just someone who you feed the ball to inside and he muscles his way in for 2 points. He understands the flow of this offense. He understands that movement strains the defense. He's passing that ball very quickly. And again, the speed of the reaction is a huge part of Steve Kerr's offense. And you see that, right? With just how fast not only the ball moves, but how fast the ball is leaving players' hands. Think of an NFL quarterback and how important it is for a quarterback in the NFL to release a ball at a lightning fast pace, right? That is the ethos of what separates, say, an NFL quarterback from a college quarterback who can never really quite take that leap. The release of a throw is vitally important. And in a lot of ways, you're seeing that with the Warriors when it comes to passing and to field goal attempts, when it comes to putting up shots. And the good news is this team fully grasped the system. You've seen even an improvement with Moses Moody and Jonathan Kaminga in that department. And I'm guessing Steve Kerr is just having the time of his life right now, having a team this deep who all understand and grasp what he wants out of his players. And we're seeing the results. A 6-1 start to the season. The Warriors are one of the best teams in the NBA so far. But again, tip of the cap to Trayce Jackson-Davis, who I know statistically, didn't rock the box score. If you didn't watch the game and all you're doing is looking at the score sheet, you might not think to yourself, Trayce Jackson-Davis, why is Cy starting with him? It's because he had an impact. He was making a difference out there. 12 points on the night, 6 rebounds on the night. Those 3 assists were important. They were big assists because when a center is passing the ball out, the defense, that sometimes could be the one extra transaction in a possession where the defense just breaks down, where they're just like, we can't do this anymore. The ball's inside. We're collapsing. He's going to put it up. Oh, no, he's passing it to Buddy Hield, who's wide open for a 3. We're done. We can't do this. We can't handle this. And that is the offense of the Golden State Warriors. They're kicking ass. And Trayce Jackson-Davis tonight, again, tip of the cap. Want to start off with him. 6 of 11 from the field. It was Trayce Jackson-Davis, again, leading the Warriors in field goal percentage. He led the team in that category a year ago. And a plus 11 in net rating, meaning in case you're relatively new to the basketball scene, when Trayce Jackson-Davis played tonight in his 23 minutes, 22 seconds, the Warriors outscored the Wizards by 11 points. So it's a positive impact. He did good things. Now, Kyle Anderson had himself a night. And I saw his name in the chat a lot. And he deserves his due. And Damian LaRouche, you're absolutely right. This team is growing, not just 1 through 12. It was a relief seeing number 13, Lindy Waters, coming out there as well. He didn't make an appearance the first half. The why of that, I have no idea. But he did make an appearance in the third quarter, and his presence alone creates space. Like never mind the fact that he's long, so he makes a terrific impact defensively in terms of blocking passing lanes and he plays really tight defense. Like his defensive presence is excellent, but offensively, just him being out there is a variable that strains the defense in terms of worry, in terms of stress, because you can't leave him alone. You cannot leave Lindy Waters by himself. You have to have a defender close to him at all times. It's awesome. And so we saw him in the second half. Thankfully, he made his first appearance of the game in the third quarter, but you're absolutely correct, Damian, that this team's depth is insane. JK saying Kyle Anderson caught a body in the fourth. I think you're referring to that slam near the end of the game. But here's what I saw with Kyle Anderson, which was incredible. And it's the fact that this team, for the first time in 3 years, is not heavily dependent on a traditional point guard. And this is where Steve Kerr started losing me in the 2022-2023 season. Is he had this like ridiculous crutch where he had to always have at least one, if not multiple, point guards, not just guards, point guards. And that's where the Ty Jerome insanity was starting. And then we saw it again last year with Corey Joseph. And this is where I think the influence of Terry Stotts and Jerry Stackhouse has been profound, because Steve Kerr is comfortable with Kyle Anderson running the offense. Now, what does that mean exactly? It means that your point guard, who before with the Ty Jeromes, with the Wanamakers a few years back, with the Corey Josephs, they were typically massive defensive liabilities, meaning when they were out there on offense, yeah, they handle the ball, so you don't have to worry too much about a turnover. In Kerr's mind, for some reason, he found peace with a point guard running the show out there. I guess it's just made him, it was a comfy blanket. It was whatever the reasoning. He felt better with ball handlers out there, regardless of how awful they were defensively, regardless of how minimally impactful they were offensively, besides the ball handling and maybe to a certain extent their outside shooting. But with Kyle Anderson as your point guard, you have a guy who's literally tied for being the tallest player on your team at 6'9". He's got a massive wingspan. He's already proven to be one of the best defensive players on your team. He had the number one defensive matchup statistics in that show we did a couple of episodes ago. And offensively, he's not bad. His three-point shooting is incredibly hit or miss. I know he had that awful 22.9% shooting percentage from deep last year. But with all that said, given his basketball IQ, the fact that Kerr is comfortable with Kyle Anderson running the point, now you have that five-man army out there that can match up with all 29 other NBA teams. Now, with Kyle Anderson as your point guard, you don't have holes in your defense. The Swiss cheese approach is out the window. I love seeing it. And again, you're not only getting the size, you're not only getting the defense, you're not only getting the easy offensive buckets, which Kyle Anderson gives you with those little floaters and those little hooks, but you no longer have a liability. I mean, I'm exalted over this. Like I'm excited. I'm thrilled to see this Warriors team starting to look like these championship versions where they weren't relying on ball handlers and the small ball crap. Like when you heard me complain about small ball, technically what the Warriors are doing now is still small ball. This is not small ball to me. Small ball to me is having an army of 6'2", 6'3" guys out there. Small ball to me is not having an army of 6'6" through 6'9" wings and forwards out there. Totally different game. If this is still technically small ball, I have no issue with it. I'm fine with it. It's the small ball where you have 4 point guards out there that was driving me up the wall. This is fantastic to see. Damian, you're absolutely right that I think every member of Dub Nation is thrilled, is just happy over the fact that the Minnesota Timberwolves could not pay Kyle Anderson and they had to watch him leave, and the Warriors got that consolation prize. Yes, Perry Olsen, you talked about, you're bringing up Steve Kerr mentioning following last season's play-in loss to the Kings, where Steve Kerr said maybe it's time to simplify things a little bit, and that's a huge reason for Terry's thoughts coming in the first place. So this is beautiful to watch in almost every sense of the word. It's beautiful. Pinoy reformat, adding, hitting on Kyle Anderson and Buddy Hield at their contracts probably sets the Warriors up for years. They lead a 5-man rotation pieces that are under team control throughout Steph, Dre, and Wiggins contracts. Sorry about my puppy. I don't know what he's going crazy about. But the point is, this is awesome. And you're absolutely right, Pinoy, that they are set up. Like they don't have any pending free agents coming up except for Gary Payton II. So I love it. I personally love it. This is just awesome to see, even on a night like this where they won by only 12 points. Phenomenal stuff. If you're a member of Dub Nation, you got to be stoked right now. You've got to be just out of your mind. Yes, and my dog is going crazy. Bubbers! I don't know what he's going crazy about, but my dog is way far away. I have too many cables here. It's a year thing for me to show Bubba right now. If he was right next to me, I would do that, but he's on the other side of the room. I apologize. But anyways, yeah, Bubba's in the house. This is Bubba, by the way, in case if you ever see me play this soundbite of someone either losing me with boredom or irrelevancy or whatever the topic is, when you're making me snooze, you see Bubba. Here's the thing about that clip, by the way. That snoring is really him. I actually put a microphone up to him when he was sleeping. That is Bubba snoring. Anyway, so yeah, I'll show Bubba at some point when he's next to me. But right now he's he's close to the TV. He's on the couch just chilling. So I'll show him at some point again. But going back to the Warriors again, who win this game 125-112. One thing that stuck out, at least to me, was the Warriors with Stephen Curry coming back. They added Gary Payton II to the starting lineup. And GP2 is a player that has been, again, I feel awful criticizing him. And I'm not criticizing him for being a bad player. It's just this is such a deep team that, you know, there is a pecking order, right, in terms of who should be getting more minutes, less minutes. And at least through the first 6 games, tonight was game number 7 of the regular season, I thought GP2 was, to a certain extent, the odd man out, just because offensively he wasn't contributing much. Defensively, he wasn't the same lockdown defender that he's been in previous years. I mean, he was a pivotal part of that title team in 2022. But this year, he just hasn't been playing up to his own standards. And then we see him start tonight. And at least my thought was, like, what? Like, why? Like what the hell is going on there? And then I thought back to what Steve Kerr said about a month or so ago when he said that for some reason, and I don't know where what the topic of conversation was that led Steve Kerr to even bring this up, but he said that he liked Gary Payton II being out there with Steph, and that for some reason that GP2 and Steph work together, that Gary Payton II is like a protector for Steph out there. I can't remember what the quote was verbatim. But it made complete sense at that point why GP2 was starting. This was Steph's first game back after missing, I believe, 4. Don't quote me on that. It was somewhere in that range. And if it's a Stephen Curry request, which is the vibe I'm starting to get, and I hope one of the reporters who's traveling with the Warriors asks Steve Kerr about the GP2 minutes, but something's telling me that this is a Stephen Curry request, that Steph has been finding comfort with GP2 as his wingman out there. And I normally thought Draymond Green took on that role, but maybe Steph also likes GP2. I don't know truly what's going on there, but my guess is that the GP2 minutes, considering they matched up almost identically with Stephen Curry's minutes, I think that's the logic and reasoning behind it. And if it is, then I'm cool. You got to be cool with it. I mean, look, Stephen Curry it's his show. This is all him first and foremost. There is no dynasty without him. When we talk about greatness and legacies, I mean, it's Stephen Curry is far and away at the forefront of this, right? I mean, so if Steph is happy with GP2, I mean, okay, fine, I get that. And I'm guessing that would be the explanation for it. Let me see if there's any sound that's come down the wire since we started recording to see if Kerr or anyone else talked about that. Actually, we do have some sound. So here's Steve Kerr. He's not talking necessarily about Gary Payton II. I'm just checking to see if there's anything, if there's any explanation for the GP2 start. There is not. So that's what I would lean towards as the reasoning. And if I find out the true reason, if it even matters, I will obviously report that. But Steve Kerr did address the media after tonight's game to talk about Stephen Curry's health. Again, he's missed a handful of games because of the rolled ankles against was it the Pistons? Now I got to look back at the schedule because I'm actually forgetting which game that was that Steph rolled his ankle in. It was it the Clippers? Was it the first Pelicans game? I think it was the Clippers game he rolled his ankle. I'm forgetting I think it was. Yeah, it was the loss to the Clippers when he rolled his ankle. That's right, it was. It was the fourth quarter. The Warriors were it was at the end of that game. Okay, it's all coming back to me now. I apologize for that. Sometimes the stoner mind lags behind reality. I do apologize. So Stephen Curry had missed 3 games, and then tonight was his first game back. But clearly the focus is going to be on the Celtics, right? I mean, if Steph had not played tonight's game to build some conditioning, to get some rhythm back, I don't know if you want to roll him out in one of these next 3 games after a layoff. So here is Steve Kerr talking about how Stephen Curry felt being out there for the first time in over 3 games and how he felt. And I believe he also brings up his status for the Celtics game. So here is Steve Kerr talking about Stephen Curry's conditioning, feelings. Take it away, Steve.
And then on the Steph front, I mean, I'm sure you haven't scripted out exactly what the minutes restriction might be, but like how cautious do you plan to be with him moving forward?
Probably depends on how he comes out tomorrow, but there were no problems at all tonight. He got through everything well, and assuming he feels good tomorrow, I don't anticipate a big minutes restriction or anything like that for Boston.
Well, that's some good news. So there's Steve Kerr saying that there will not be a minutes restriction. Again, he was on a 24-minute restriction tonight, which is the reason why you saw him not starting the second half. But when you have this much depth, it don't matter if he's starting the second half. And D'Anthony Melton, by the way, looks like he's on pace to come back soon. He's going to get reevaluated Friday, which means that D'Anthony Melton might be available for the Warriors Sunday when they take on the OKC Thunder. I don't know if that matters, truth be told, given the way the team's playing right now and how much depth they have. But if that's good news to you, keep that in mind. So that was Steve Kerr talking about Steph and how he's feeling right now. He looked good out there. I know there was reports that during the timeouts and during halftime, he was working on the ankle in terms of treatment, in terms of stretching it out. But everything seems copacetic for Stephen Curry. Buddy Hield is currently leading the Golden State Warriors in scoring right now. Clearly the Warriors have something going here in terms of, in the same way that Steph finds comfort with GP2. I think Buddy and Jonathan Kaminga find comfort with each other out there. Buddy Hield had another 20-point game. He had exactly 20 points for the Warriors tonight, second on the team behind Stephen Curry. And I'll read off Steph's stat line in just a moment here, but let's finish up with Buddy Hield. Buddy shot 50% from the field tonight. He played 27 minutes, 40 seconds. He was 3 of 8 from deep, which is perfectly acceptable. It's not the greatest shooting night. It's around like 37, 38%. You're cool with that. And those threes were huge. I feel like every single one of those threes came right when the Warriors were struggling offensively. The Wizards started to come back and would make it a single-digit lead. And then there was Buddy Hield hitting a big three. There was Stephen Curry hitting a big three. This team has options, and the Buddy Hield addition so far has been a wild victory for the Warriors in terms of free agent signings. So Buddy Hield led the team tonight in terms of net rating with a plus 14, second on the team in scoring with 20. He also had 2 trips to the free throw line, even had 5 rebounds in this game to go along with 2 assists. Buddy has just been unbelievable. Splash Buddy. We are not forgetting Klay Thompson. I'm not forgetting. We're not missing Klay Thompson here in the San Francisco Bay Area. Are we now? It's absolutely incredible. Damian LaRoche is asking, how much are the Warriors paying Buddy yearly on his contract? I believe it's approximately $10 to $11 million a year. They got him in a sign and trade. And keep in mind, and this is one of the best parts about the Buddy Hield story to me, in terms of him first coming to the Golden State Warriors, the Lakers also wanted him. And they could have also done a sign and trade for him as well. Buddy had his choices. And he's already said this. He said this in an interview, that when the decision was in front of him and he had to make a choice, he picked the Warriors because he thought his odds of winning were higher with Golden State. I love that. There's just something about that I absolutely love. So FULA, we got Buddy Hield. When I say we, I mean the San Francisco Bay Area, the Golden State Warriors, our Buddy's team, and Klay Thompson. I mean, the love for him will always be there. But in this present moment, it sure does seem like the Warriors won in that transaction where Klay Thompson left, Buddy Hield came. So far, so damn good. Now, Stephen Curry, who missed 3+ games with that rolled ankle, and thankfully he looked fine out there tonight. Rolled ankles, thankfully, are not typically long-term debilitating type injuries. And Steph was on fire. Sorry, my ear is like just itching me. So Stephen Curry, I'm sorry, in this game, again, minute restriction, 24 minutes and 5 seconds. There was a little bit of rust out there. Like he missed layups he normally would never miss. But despite that, despite being rusty, despite missing 3+ games, Stephen Curry's stat line tonight, he only led the team in scoring with 24 points. He was only 4 of 9 from deep, including one of his signature 3-pointers where he started running and going back before the ball even went in. There is no one else I've ever seen in all my years of observing basketball and playing basketball where I've seen someone with the ability to do that, where they know if the shot's going in before it actually goes in. I don't know how the hell he does that. That is a unique, when we talk about the Wizards, which, side note, the worst nickname in all of professional sports. I will never understand why the Wizards, or the Washington Wizards, who I understand the reasoning for changing their previous name. They were the Washington Bullets. Okay, fine. The owner was a victim of gun violence. You want to change the name? Totally understandable. I get that. Why the hell are you changing your nickname to old men with pointy caps and long white beards that have magical powers? How does that correlate to DC? How does that correlate to basketball? Wizards. I mean, they're not even like a real thing. Never mind the fact that the image of it is just a senior citizen with a cane who has magic powers. The Wizards is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life when it comes to a nickname for a pro team. I digress. The point is, Stephen Curry came here tonight and kicked the Wizards' ass, and he was 4 of 9 from deep, which is just shy of 50%. He's dropping 3-pointers and running the other way before the shots are even in. He was a perfect 6 of 6 from the free throw line, added 6 assists and 3 rebounds, was a +9 in net rating, only had 2 turnovers, which by his standards is good, right? Stephen Curry can be a turnover machine. We live with that in terms of watching him play. But again, 24 points for Stephen Curry, 6 assists, 4 of 9 from deep, just shy of 50% shooting from beyond the 3-point line. Have yourself a night, Stephen Curry, one of the greatest to ever do it. Draymond Green had himself a night as well. And early in the game, there was an interesting tit-for-tat moment there where Jordan Poole and Draymond Green were playing like this weird pointing game where Jordan Poole, who had a good night, by the way, hit a 3-pointer. And then for some reason, he like pointed, I think, at Steph. but he was pointing at him, and it caught Draymond's eye. Like Draymond, he did it right in front of Draymond, and Draymond's looking at him like, "What the hell are you doing, man? Like, did you not learn anything about poking the bear during your time with us?" And then I can't, maybe someone in the chat can enlighten me on was it Steph who hit the three, or did Draymond hit the three to get the pointing right back at you? Sandris, I'll get to your chat in just a minute. But there was a weird pointing thing going on where Draymond was then pointing right back. Yeah, thank you, Leo Giancarlo. It was Steph who hit the three, and then Draymond Green started pointing back. It was, I don't know. Again, Jordan Poole just sometimes does funky stuff. But it was an interesting moment. But Draymond Green, the three-point shooter. I mean, this is no longer like a fad. This is no longer like a gimmick. This is a real thing. Draymond Green, regardless of how funky the style is, regardless of the fact that, yes, he totally looks like he's wearing a JanSport backpack, despite all that, dude is a three-point threat. He was 3 of 4 from deep tonight, 5 of 7 from the field. He also grabbed 8 rebounds. He also had 5 assists, had a block shot, was a plus 11 net rating. On Saturday night, Paul McCaffrey was talking about Draymond Green, the scorer, and how he missed him. Well, he's back, folks. 18 points in this game, 5 of 7 shooting. Again, 3 of 4 shooting from deep. And Draymond Green, Maron, have yourself a season. And he's campaigning for Defensive Player of the Year. Look at him go. Bravo. So I think that's no, don't worry about that stuff. I'm seeing something in the chat. I won't even highlight that, Metal Pig. Let's just leave that where it is. Don't worry about it. It's fine. So those are some of your stars for the evening for the Golden State Warriors. I just want to see anything in the chat I should be addressing. Ranger 49 saying Draymond is back, and Sandris, with the donation, helping this business out. By the way, we're just a little over 100 individuals shy of reaching 3,000 subscribers in under 4 months. Took me 3 years to get 14,000 of the old network. So for the fact that we're about to hit 3,000 subscribers in approximately 4 months, not bad, folks. Thank you. This is just the beginning of what hopefully is going to be a 20-year run. That's the plan. We'll see if we can keep it up. But Sandris Rux in the chat dropping $2. Thank you, saying that you think the Warriors are going to go 2-1 for the rest of the trip. That's a bold take, Sandris, because here's what that means. That means, according to you and your confidence, which I love, that the Warriors in these next 3 games on the road, in this a 3-game set that I think is safe to say is the most difficult in the entire NBA this season, that the Warriors are going to come away winning 2 of those. Let me ask you for a follow-up, Sandris, if you don't mind, because Sandris Rux is writing that the Warriors in these next 3 games, where they play the Celtics, where they play the Cavaliers, and where they play the Thunder, that they're going to win 2 of those. That's bold. Now, makes me want to look at the standings real fast, because I want to see what the collective record of those 3 teams are real quickly. And Sandris, again, if you don't mind following up on that, you don't have to pay any more money. Just follow up and write which 2 of the 3 games they're going to win. The combined record of the Warriors' next 3 opponents, I'm not making this up, 21-1. The Cleveland Cavaliers currently 8-0. The Boston Celtics currently 7-1. The OKC Thunder currently 6-0. That is the gauntlet facing the Golden State Warriors. So Sandra, here we go. You followed up. Thank you. So Sanders follows up and thinks that the one loss is going to be to the Boston Celtics. I will say this. If the Warriors are going to win 2 of the next 3, I agree with you. I would think that same feelings, same sentiments from this side. I think the one loss will likely be to Boston just because they're that damn good. I like it. That's optimistic. ATGYY writing, Jonathan Kaminga, get him ready for the playoffs. He's literally the only guy that can get to the rim whenever he wants. Yeah, he's very special in that regard. We're going to talk about him in just a moment, and you need that in the playoffs. I thought his rebounding was also exemplary tonight. I thought his defense was exemplary tonight. The speed of his play is where I think you're 100% correct. When you're that fast and that athletic, how can you stop it? The speed is just too fast to react to defensively. 100%. Now, and the Celtics thing, I saw someone else in the chat. Let me see if I can find where that was. Yeah, Portola 45 adding that, yes, Boston is going to go at Kerr. And this is where those decisions that were made this last summer in the Olympics, Jaylen Brown has a massive chip on his shoulder for not even making the Olympic team, despite being the NBA Finals and Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Jason Tatum, the best player on the reigning world champions, DNP twice, minimal minutes, a lot of other games. He's admitted publicly he was not happy about the decision to sit those games and to get a limited run in the Olympics. Yes, they're going to be pissed. I don't know what the spread is yet. I'm going to go to BetOnline and actually see if the line for that game is available yet, because I'm wondering what the bookies think about Warriors Celtics Wednesday night. Side note, in case you folks are not familiar with this, there are no games tomorrow. If you're listening to this on Tuesday, that means today, Election Day, is a holiday by the NBA standards, rightfully so. I strongly agree with that decision. The line, by the way, not available yet, at least courtesy of BetOnline, the official sponsor and the official bookmaker of Golden Days. So we don't know what the spread's going to be yet, but I would guess Boston -7, Boston -8. They're going to be a heavy favorite in that game. And the anger, the resentment that their two-star players have towards Steve Kerr could be a huge reason for that. Sandris Rux also adding that you think the Warriors could beat the Cavs and the Thunder. Yeah, that goes without saying. You said it's 2-1. What the F is fashion, saying Buddy and JK. Yeah, I talked about them earlier about the fact that those two as a combination, it's impressive. It's borderline unstoppable. Let's talk about Jonathan Kaminga real fast on the night, because he had another great game. He did not start the game. He did not finish the game. I think if the Warriors really needed him, he would have. Great night for Kaminga, with one exception being he had 2 3-point attempts, missed them both. Very close shots. They both rimmed in and out. So the accuracy was there. Just sometimes you need that extra luck or touch, and Kaminga didn't have that. Did not harm his overall game. He played 25 minutes, 17 seconds in this game tonight. 15 points, 6 rebounds. He was 7 of 15 from the field. I thought his defense particularly was very impressive. And that Wizards team is long. They're big. And so Kaminga's impact, I thought, was particularly important in this one. He was a +3 in terms of net rating. Moses Moody, his 2022 draft classmate, 2021, I apologize, played 15 minutes in this one, 3 of 7 from the field, 1 of 4 from deep. That 1 3-pointer was a big one in the fourth quarter. So even though he only made 1, it was profound. And Moses Moody on the night with 10 points. He's been figuring out how to score in double digits consistently, even with limited minutes. Like 15 minutes is not a lot, but Moses Moody making the best of the time that he's given out there. So that's the stat line for those two. Metal Pig asking, didn't we sweep the Celtics last year? Split. Each team won at home. The Warriors beat the Celtics in San Francisco, and then in Boston, the Celtics kicked some major ass. Let's see if there's anything else in the chat. Is that true? Robert Mao? Is that how you pronounce your name? Roberti Mao saying the Lakers lost to the Pistons. We'll cover the scoreboard at the end of the show. Let me see if there's any sound that has come down besides Steve Kerr talking about how Stephen Curry's doing after his first game back. Is there any other sound that has come down so far? And the answer to that question is no. So, all right. I would like to hear more, but none of the few individuals that are traveling with the team right now have posted anything. So it looks like Steve Kerr talking about Stephen Curry is going to be it. And that's okay. Now, some lowlights real fast that I want to highlight. Andrew Wiggins did not have a good game tonight. But again, here's the good news. You can live with Wiggins having a bad night if you don't force him to stay out there like the team has done in previous years. And this is where the influence of the coaching staff is obvious, because Kerr would just stick with these players for like 35 minutes. Like, I still am emphatically confident that if Klay Thompson was on this team this year, and regardless of the depth or of the talent, and if Klay Thompson was still on this team and Kerr did not have these new assistants, you'd have Klay going out there 35 minutes a night, going over 0 of 10, like we saw with Sacramento last year. Wiggins, his line tonight, he was 1 of 9 from the field. He was 0 of 6 from deep. Awful night, shooting-wise. 5 points total. Did grab 4 boards at least, so he was contributing in other ways, also had 2 assists. But he only played 18 minutes, more specifically 17 minutes, 59 seconds. And that is a clear difference between this year and last year. Last year, that 18 minutes would have been 36. And Wiggins would have probably been like 2 of 17 from the field. Disastrous night. 13-point Warriors win. Might have been by 2, or they would have been upset. This year, Andrew Wiggins struggles like this, you're on the bench. We're okay. We've got depth. You can't make your shots? Buddy Hield, step right up. Moses Moody, step right up. Lindy Waters, oh yeah, I forgot to play you in the first half. Let's bring you into the third quarter. And Lindy Waters only hit 1 3. He was 1 of 3 from deep, 1 of 4 from the field total, but he was making clutch defensive plays. The dude can pass the ball. He's not a bad ball handler. And that 1 3 was clutch. But more importantly, his presence spaces the floor. And with this roster as a whole, when Andrew Wiggins is having a night like this, they're moving on. And that's huge. That's huge. Feelings are being put aside for winning basketball again. And if you're a fan of the Warriors, you got to be loving that. So even though Andrew Wiggins had a bad night, it did not hurt the Warriors in the grand scheme of things, largely because there are some sane voices on this bench letting Kerr know, hey, he doesn't have to play. We don't have to force him out there. He doesn't have to get 25, 30, 35 minutes. We have options, Steve. And the result is you win by 13 on a night where you're nowhere near playing your best basketball of the season. So the one last player I want to focus on, and I'll get back to the chat one more time to see if there's anyone there. And Kev, you nailed it. Brandon Podziemski. That was a weird one. And I'm curious to know why no one's reporting on this or covering this. And the only reason why I think it's newsworthy is because Brandon Podziemski is, to me, the definition of toughness, the epitome of durability. So, and he started the second half. Again, Stephen Curry did not start the second half of this game because of a minutes restriction. He played 12 minutes in the first half. Steve Kerr wanted to save the remaining 12 minutes that he was allowed to play in his first game back. He wanted to save those minutes for the end of the game if necessary. And so Brandon Podziemski started the second half. He came in for, I think, 30 seconds. Here, let me look at I actually have the box score here so I can look up the exact moment where he left. And so Brandon Podziemski comes into the game. Here, let me go my third quarter. Here we go. Missed a 23-foot jumper. And then 52 seconds into the second half, Lindy Waters subs in for him. Brandon Podziemski goes to the locker room, and we don't see him again. That is really weird to me. And the reports coming out are that he wasn't feeling well. That's the extent of the specifics we've seen. Now, an interesting little secret in the NBA is that in a lot of cases, when you see a situation like this, and Stephen Curry was a part of this, I think like 2 years ago, where he just missed the game last minute because he wasn't feeling well. And yeah, Leo Giancarlo adding that the broadcast said he was ill, right? That they said he wasn't feeling well. But again, that's not specific. That could mean one of a million things. In most cases, not all, but in most, they just got a massive case of the shits. And I don't know if that's what happened. That's the best case scenario. Is, look, we all have those nights, those days, whatever it is, where your tummy's like, we're enemies for this evening. And maybe that's what happened. As Metal Pig writes, bubble guts. Let's hope that's the extent of it, because he wasn't really giving off any signs that he wasn't feeling good. And in the first half of this game, Brandon Podziemski, his stat line was he played 12 minutes. He was 1 of 3 from the field, missed his 1 3-point attempt. It wasn't a big night statistically, but he is the NBA's net rating leader. True story. He was a +6 in the first half. Huge surprise there. 2 points, 4 rebounds, and an assist. It wasn't a great night for him so far. Had a turnover in the first half, committed 2 fouls. But then again, he just ran off the court 52 seconds in. And Jonathan Brand, it's a possibility that Jonathan Brand in the chat writing, or he partied out in DC last night. And again, the stomach thing could correlate directly to that. I don't know about you, but some hangovers have definitely made my tummy upset. And not from puking. It's because, you just got the watery poo. What are you going to do? So I'm a poet and didn't know it. Oh! So anyways, let's hope that's what happened. And that Brandon Podziemski just had a case of the liquid doo-doo. And Roberti Mao adding, I didn't see this, that Steph actually walked Pods toward the tunnel. Look, man, some doo-doos are that painful. Let's hope that's what happened. All right, let's because I think that would be the best case scenario. But regardless, I will say this about Pods. Raymond, are you sitting here saying that diarrhea is too much information for you? You don't like talking about liquid poo? I'm kidding. So I will say this about Pods, though. I wrote a note because I wrote this down because I believe it. Brandon Podziemski, in late first quarter, when he made his 1 bucket, had the most beautiful shot of his young career. The form was perfect. He released it right at the top of his jump. The form was beautiful. I can't remember if it was nothing but net, but I think it was. The point is, that was the most beautiful field goal attempt Brandon Podziemski has ever taken in his very short NBA career. And I think Fitzgerald also made a comment about it. And I remember watching that shot going, if he can do this consistently, all good on the Brandon Podziemski front. Like, his offense will come in a complete package. So that was a positive, because when I see an NBA player do that, show perfect form on a shot, you get encouraged. So I got encouraged for that. So yeah, that was a good thing, at least. Derek Simmons adding prayers for Pods. Yeah, let's hope he's okay. We have no idea what happened to him, but that is not normal. And again, my theory is that he had tummy issues, because that's what typically is the reason for a player just bailing like that. And let's hope it's not too serious. I want to play one last soundbite, and it has nothing to do with a quote from a player on the Warriors, but rather it's courtesy of Kalena Azubuike. He is the Warriors color commentator, and he replaced Jim Barnett a few years ago. He's a former Warriors player. I think he played at Kentucky in college. But the reason why I'm going to play this clip, it's a highlight from the game, and this was following a Stephen Curry made 3. He was on fire. And there's no better way to justify how awesome Kalena Azubuike was than hearing it for yourself. So here is Kalena Azubuike immediately following. I can't remember if this was, we'll find out right now. I can't remember if this was a Stephen Curry 3 or a Stephen Curry made free throw and 1. But sit back and enjoy Kalena being funny and witty. How do you defend that? You don't. You just don't. And there were 2 lines that came from that, besides the, how do you defend that? You don't. If you sleep, he is your worst nightmare. Bravo, Kalena Azubuike. I thought those were 2 beautiful lines off the cuff during a live broadcast. How do you defend that? You don't. Jaleel, thank you. I try. But Kalena Azubuike was the comedy star this evening. That was hilarious. So, as Ravel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6B says, it gets real now, folks. Wednesday night, Warriors Celtics. Is it an NBA Finals preview? It could be. Did you expect anyone to say that 7 games into the season? Probably not. yet here we are. And it's going to be a hell of a game one way or another. I cannot emphasize this enough. If the Warriors get their asses kicked in any or all of these next 3 games, don't fret, don't panic, don't worry. It will not mean a damn thing because today is November 4th. The Warriors are currently 6-1, and the Warriors you see now, who are already kicking some ass, are going to be infinitely better in February, March, April. So while this is an awesome test to see where the Warriors are at this point, do not press the panic button if they get their asses kicked, all right? It is way too early in the season. Those 3 teams are far more experienced and polished as a team playing together as a collective than this Warriors team is. So please don't worry. Will we analyze it and nitpick it? Of course. But are we going to overreact to a loss? Hell no. Now, if the Warriors win, are we going to be in an insanely excited, positive, fun mood? Yeah, of course. Because that means the success is coming sooner than later. But don't panic is all I'm trying to say. All right. It's nothing to worry about if the Warriors lose what is, in my opinion, undoubtedly the toughest 3-game stretch any team in the NBA this season is going to face. I mean, it's insane that this is the schedule. On the road, Celtics, Cavaliers, Thunder, collectively, they're 21-1. That's insane. But again, just don't panic. Ranger 49, thank you for the contribution, writing that according to CBS, that Brandon Podziemski was being evaluated by trainers. Oh, so maybe it was not a tummy issue. We shall find out. And then Traveling Urquidez, I will not jump on your cloud. You enjoy your fantasy, writing, what if the Warriors never lose again? It's a beautiful what if. It's 0 chance in hell that's happening. But and then Key 17 adding, why the hell would you want Valanciunas? Size, smarts. Did you folks see that one play, by the way? You know what? I'm not done playing sound. There's going to be one more. This was a fun interaction between Draymond Green and Jonas Valanciunas. I randomly saw this. I didn't see anyone else pick up on it. So the audio will not be great because I was recording this literally from my iPhone onto my TV. But it was a comical interaction between Draymond Green and Jonas Valanciunas, where Draymond was being Draymond and maybe a bit too physical, at least for Valanciunas. And Valanciunas' reaction was what really made. Okay, there you go. That's it. So, and in case you missed what happened there, and I'm sorry if you did, you hear Draymond yell to Valanciunas, "Man, shut the hell up!" And the reason why Draymond said that is because Valanciunas wasn't happy that he apparently got hit in the face. You see him licking his lips there. It looks like he got his lip busted. And I think it's because of Draymond's hand smacking his face. So Valanciunas is saying something. Draymond's saying, and you could clearly hear it saying, and I have this on my Threads account if you want to check it out for yourself, @DogWild is the handle. And Draymond's yelling at him, "Man, shut the hell up." And then Valanciunas is licking his busted lip. And you could read his lips enough where he's saying, "Come on, man." Yeah, exactly. Leo Giancarlo, classic Draymond. I thought that was comical. Dying 1234. I hope you're not actually dying. Writes, what do you think on Trayce Jackson-Davis shooting the 3? Because I saw him shoot that with good form. Did Trayce Jackson-Davis have a 3-point attempt in this game tonight? He did not. So I don't know if that's a player you are referencing. But he's not known for being a 3-point shooter. If you're talking about a shot attempt from last year, he's not a 3-point shooter. I know he said he was going to work on it this offseason, but he's not a 3-point shooter. All right, so we're going to wrap up with the post-game scoreboard around the NBA, and we'll call it a night. Hope everyone's having a decent Monday. This was very Monday-ish feeling-wise. And then again, tomorrow is an unofficial holiday. It should be a holiday. I wish the government did make it a federal holiday so you all can have a day off on Election Tuesday. But nonetheless, tomorrow's the election. No basketball tomorrow. I don't know if I'll have a show tomorrow. If there's something to talk about, I will. If not, we'll celebrate the holiday. I hope all of you get a chance to vote and exercise your freedom of democracy. I submitted my ballot today in a Dropbox, so that's what's going on. All right. Going around the NBA to finish up tonight's broadcast. Following the Golden State Warriors winning 125-112, they improved to 6-1 on the season, tied for the second best record in the NBA. Not tied, I'm sorry, and it's actually the third best record because of the win total. Okay, so going around the league, we start off first and foremost, the Sacramento Kings squeezing out a 1-point victory over the Miami Heat in Miami. 111-110. The Warriors' little brothers improved to 4-3 on the year. The Miami Heat dropped to 3-3. DeMar DeRozan, the top performer by ESPN standards, 26 points, 6 assists. Tyler Hero in the loss, 27 points, 6 rebounds. And I'm actually going to open the box score on that one because I am curious how Jimmy Butler did, given a lot of trade chatter is involving him and the Warriors. And when I say a lot of trade chatter, I just mean a bunch of people who don't actually work for NBA teams just shooting the shit. Jimmy Butler tonight, a great night. 36 minutes played, 27 points, 6 assists, and 2 rebounds. Was a plus 11 in net rating in the loss. The Brooklyn Nets are playing way better than they should. This is a team that's supposed to be tanking for Cooper Flag. They beat the Memphis Grizzlies tonight, 106-104. Cam Johnson with 20 points. Zach Edey, 25 points, 12 rebounds, 4 blocks for the rookie in the loss. The Memphis Grizzlies dropped to 4-4. The Nets improve to 4-4. The Memphis Grizzlies, so far early in the season, not revealing themselves to be a dominating team, though they still might make the playoffs. We shall see. The Boston Celtics crushed the Atlanta Hawks tonight, 123-93. Jason Tatum, 28 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists in the win. Okongwu, 18 points and 10 rebounds for the Hawks in a 30-point loss. As I forgot who said it in the chat earlier, but it was highlighted for very good reason. The LA Lakers, a feel-good story by a lot of standards after they started the season 3-0. They're now 4-3 after losing in Detroit to the Pistons, 115-103. Jaden Ivey, 26 points in the win. Anthony Davis, who's playing great basketball to start the season, 37 points, 9 rebounds for the Lakers in the loss. The Cleveland Cavaliers remain undefeated. They beat the plummeting Milwaukee Bucks, where future Golden State Warrior Giannis Antetokounmpo did not play because of a strained abductor. Darius Garland, 39 points, 8 assists in the win. Dame Lillard, who's expected to make a trade request soon. I'm being facetious about all the Bucks stuff. 36 points, 7 assists in the 2-point loss for Milwaukee. And we have a lot of games going on right now, which is not the norm, but the Warriors are on the East Coast right now. So this show is early by everyone's standards. The San Antonio Spurs are leading the LA Clippers 35-14. Wait, let me say that again. That is correct. And there's still 1:10 to play in the first from what I'm looking at. The Spurs lead the Clippers 35-14. For the folks watching the recording of this or listening, very curious to find out what the result of that will be. You will know it. The Philadelphia 76ers, who only have 1 win this season, they lead the Phoenix Suns in Phoenix 46-45. 6:52 left to play in the second quarter there. The Toronto Raptors lead the Denver Nuggets in Denver 57-52. What's happening in Denver is crazy. At halftime, the Indiana Pacers lead the Dallas Mavericks in Dallas 63-59. Let's see how Klay Thompson is doing in that game through 2 quarters. Klay Thompson he's played 17 minutes so far, 3 of 6 from the field, 1 of 2 from deep for 7 points. Klay Thompson's stats on the year, by the way, so far, he's averaging 14.5 points per game, 3.3 rebounds, 1.7 assists. Buddy Hield averaging nearly 10 points more a game than Klay Thompson. Yeah, I think the Warriors are doing okay in that regard. The New Orleans Pelicans, who got swept by the Warriors a few days ago in a back-to-back set at Chase, are leading the Portland Trailblazers 64-63 midway through the third quarter. The OKC Thunder look like they're going to improve to 7-0. They lead the Orlando Magic. That's a good game there. 84-58 in OKC. So again, with OKC leading by 26 and a quarter and a half to play, looking very likely that the Thunder are going to improve to 7-0 on the season. The Minnesota Timberwolves looks like they're going to win their fourth game of the year. They currently lead the Charlotte Hornets 95-71. Minnesota 3-3 on the year currently. So again, they'll likely improve to 4-3. And this one's almost done. The Houston Rockets, who put up a damn good fight against the Warriors just the other night, they're about to beat the New York Knicks. They currently lead 105-97. There's 57 seconds left to play in the fourth quarter of that one. So if Houston holds on, they'll improve to 4-3. The Knicks will drop to 3-3, and that looks good for the Warriors, given the Knicks are a very talented team. So that is your scoreboard. Shad asking, why is it you have on a Tanzania flag? Oh, you're referring to my hat. One of my best friends in the whole world, Jerry Montgomery. Jerry, hope you're doing good out there. He's out in Nashville or somewhere in that neighborhood these days. He used to work for the Peace Corps and came back and gave me this hat as a gift, and I loved it. And yeah, so that's why. Carson Taylor in the chat dropping a $4.99 contribution. Thank you. Asking if we can go 2-2, that's huge. If you don't mind following up, you don't have to pay for the follow-up. Did you mean 2-1 or 1-2? Because there's only 3 games left on the road trip. Also, why is GP2 still on the team? How would you feel about a Jaren Jackson Jr. trade with Memphis since the Grizzlies are going nowhere? All right. So first of all, again, follow up and explain why or whether you meant 2-1 or 1-2 regarding Gary Payton II. He's still under contract for one more season. He's making approximately $11 million this year. But as we mentioned early in the show, Stephen Curry seems to be very happy when Gary Payton II is out on the floor with him. Steve Kerr's alluded to that previously about a month or so ago. And the fact that GP2 started this game and his rotations were matched with Steph's tonight seems to indicate that that's the reasoning, is that Steph seems to like it when Gary Payton II is out on the floor with him. But otherwise, I totally agree. Like, Moses Moody should be getting those minutes otherwise. And then Jaren Jackson Jr. to the Warriors, sign me up. I would insanely love that. I just don't think it's very realistic. I've never heard or seen or read any form of indication that the Grizzlies would be willing to trade a player like Jaren Jackson Jr., but you are 1,000,000% right. He would be perfect on the Golden State Warriors, but unfortunately, I have not heard that he's available. Nick Fensky, my man, great to see you, my friend, writing, I would love Jaren Jackson Jr. on the Dubs. He would be a perfect fit. Wholeheartedly agree. When I think of like ideal next generation, bigs to replace Draymond Green, Bam Adebayo is like top of my list. And then right behind him, though, would be Jaren Jackson Jr. Those two would be perfect. Shad in the chat is saying that Tari Eason, who played fantastic basketball for the Rockets the other night against the Warriors, he always seems to play well against Golden State. You just added him to your fantasy squad. So happy for you. Hopefully he delivers. So Carson, so you were saying 2-1. So you included 2-2, referencing the Mavericks game, which is going to be the first game when they come back home, the start of the midseason tournament, aka the Emirates Cup. Yeah, 2-2 over the next 4 games will be fantastic. So if they do that, that's a win. That is a huge win, given the strength of schedule and how difficult the competition is. So I am absolutely with you. Shad, this is my hat, but if you want me to sign anything, which is crazy, I've been asked a couple times to do autographs. I do not think of myself as anything special, so that is really weird to me, but I'll do it. If you really want an autograph, just do me a favor and email me at warriors24pod@gmail. Let me put it on the screen for you, so it's easier for you. Yeah, if you email me there, if you actually want me to sign something for you, I'm sure there are others who are more worthy of that out there than me, but if I'm not going to say no either. So yeah, email me and we'll figure that out. And thank you, brother. That's really kind of you, Shaw. That's really kind of you, man. I don't know how to respond to that in all honesty. Troy Brown saying the Warriors are looking pretty good. Damn good, man. There's no masking 6-1 to start the season. I know the competition has not been like overwhelmingly good, but when good teams play bad teams, they're supposed to beat the shit out of them, and that's what the Warriors are doing. So they're doing what great teams do. That's the encouraging part. And Steph alluded to it in the post-game interview, how the team is very aware of who they're playing these next 3 games, especially the fact that they're playing the Celtics next. So fascinating stuff. We shall see. The team is aware of it. They're paying attention to it. It should be a damn good time. We'll see what happens. Honestly, if they keep it close, I would consider that a win. Here is one more soundbite. There is one more. Yes. And it's Steph again talking about his ankle injury. I'm glad we have this before we wrap up the show. Oh, we got a couple more sound bites. We're also going to hear from Draymond Green in just a minute. Here is Stephen Curry, though. He's talking about how he's managing his ankle injury recovery as the Warriors are getting ready to play the Boston Celtics. So here is Stephen Curry talking about his ankle and talking about the Celtics. This is courtesy of NBC Sports Bay Area, which usually means the audio quality is a lot better.
How careful are you having to try to be right now coming off this ankle injury?
Oh, what?
How careful? I mean, 24 minutes tonight seemed like you were kind of...
I was playing just with the minute restriction and trying to figure out how to space those minutes out. That's why I didn't start in the third quarter to close both the third and the fourth. I feel good. It's just, it's still early in the year and you're trying to build up the endurance. My ankle feels fine. It's just you don't want to be in a position where you get fatigued and put yourself in jeopardy. So this is a good stepping stone.
But I don't think we've talked to you since you did it. I know it was kind of, you had 2 in the same game that did it. I mean, did the first one kind of lead to the second one?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I've been through plenty of those episodes, and I know whether it's something I can play on or not. I made a misjudgment on that one because it was right away. The adrenaline got the best of me, but thankfully it was only a little over a week, and I feel good now.
How much will you push to bump this minute total up over 30 for the, you're in Boston Wednesday and big games ahead?
Oh, that's why this was important to get through this game where I could play aggressively, but no, I wasn't stretching to too many minutes. But the rest of this road trip is tough. We got 3 tough teams, and we want to keep building momentum. So I'm sure I'll play more, but I feel good enough to do it.
There you go. That's a hell of a quote. And the same person asked all 3 of those questions. That was Anthony Slater. Him and Sam Gordon do a fantastic job covering this team on the beat. So bravo to those 2. And Stephen Curry, those are great questions. Admitting that attribution that the first rolled ankle did directly lead to the second one, and that Steph is now trying to maintain the momentum for this team. He is the leader without question. So good job, Steph. Coming back from the ankle injury, good questioning from Anthony Slater of The Athletic. And oh no, that was the last soundbite. I thought we were going to get one more, but no sound. But no sound from Trey, at least for the moment. But I'll take that. That's better than nothing. And that's it. Yeah, I thought we had one more, but oh well, that's it. All right. And then last but not least, in the chat, Mitchell and Ness writing, will Curve go back to his bad habits, playing vets over young players against these top-tier teams? We shall find out. And again, this is where what we've seen so far with the addition of Terry Stotts and Jerry Stackhouse is keeping that in check. Will it continue? Believe me, I'm just as curious as you are. If they continue not doing so, if they continue going with the best players on this team and not the players Kerr likes the most, this run will continue. I'm very confident of that. And we shall find out. We'll see. But Carson Taylor also asking, do you think the Warriors make a big splash move around the trade deadline, or do you think this is the squad to be determined? These next 3 games will clearly help answer that question. Like if the Warriors are getting their asses kicked in these games, and let's say for the sake of argument, it's the Warriors' lack of depth in the front court, the Warriors' lack of size in the front court. If that, for example, becomes a serious issue, yes, then I would think the Warriors are going to proceed with making some sort of move. If the Warriors, like someone said earlier, Carson, it was you saying that you think the Warriors are going to go 2-2 these next 4 games. If they do that, then probably not, right? I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So we shall see. We'll find out. With each game, the picture becomes a little more clear in terms of what the goal is. So, and then B40 asking, do you think Melton is a ball hog? No, I don't think. D'Anthony Melton is a great player. There's no doubt about that. Durability is clearly an issue. Also, from what we've seen so far, the shooting has not been lights out. But he's a two-way player, meaning he's excellent at defense. It's just all about durability. We got to see how he does. Fal Sharpton, great to see you as well, brother. And Nick Fensky, thank you for encouraging. Thanks for all the retweets. You show so much love, dude. Get on the show sometime, man. I didn't put the link up tonight, but we've already been on for over an hour, so that was my bad. I just forgot. Wednesday night, we're back at this, if not sooner, but at the absolute latest Wednesday, Warriors Celtics post-game will be right here. Nick, you got to make an appearance on the show at some point. I hope to see you. Thank you to everyone, though. And yeah, please do hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. Or, as the rock star and celebrity of the summer said, spit on that thing! Don't forget about Hawk Tua. Don't ever forget about her. She's a hero. Troy Brown asking, what do I think about Kaminga's minutes? I wouldn't mind 30, but he's getting 25, 30. He's getting a run. Look, they're winning, right? Isn't that the goal? Yeah, I think things are good. We'll see you soon, folks. And once again, subscribe, hit that like button, spit on that thing. Go Warriors. 6-1, baby. That is impressive. Hope you all are feeling good, because you should be if you love the Golden State Warriors. Thanks, everyone. We'll be back soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.